What's up, fight fans? Welcome to the UFC Fight Night 122 post-fight show. My name is Flyin Brian J. Thank you so very much for joining me. In the comment section, once you get here, please tell me what post-fight letter grade or post-fight rating you would give UFC Shanghai. 1 to 4, 1 to 100, I don't care, whatever you do, just tell me what it's out of. I'm going to give it A to F. I would go B+. It was kind of a breath of fresh air. I mean, most cards that happen on Fox Sports 1, Fox, anything, it's kind of a slog. You know, there's a lot of downtime between fights, and they give you the filler that you don't really need, especially on cards like this. If you're already tuned into the card, you don't need to see more hype videos for it. If you're already there, you don't need to sell me on the card. I'm already here. Let's get on with the action. Last week we had the longest runtime UFC event in the history of the organization. Today we had, I don't know the numbers exactly, but it was an extremely quick, short event. And by golly, was it phenomenal that it was that short. The action just went right after each other. Even the portion where we moved over, where I thought it was probably taking place on BT Sports over in UK. That's why we had a separate main card where we had to change links from Fight Pass to Fight Pass. Even that portion just went bang, 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 bang. I mean, the main card portion started at 7 a.m. Eastern time, and it's 8:47 a.m. Eastern time right now. So we got 4 fights in less than 2 hours. We had Jon Anik and Dan Hardy talk to each other for a little bit after it was over, and I just love the pace of the whole damn thing. Mike VK could have been a better card, to be honest. Australia and China both given nothing. But had to give it a 7. Drew Hanrahan, that's a name. That is a good name, Drew. Gave it an 8 without a doubt. I'm assuming you guys are giving it out of 10. Matt Roddy, what a knockout. I think it was a 7.5 out of 10. Kevin wrecked Mike's mouthpiece. I don't think Michael will grace the octagon again. What a career, though. We're going to address that in a second. Matt Roddy. I'm going to give it, I said I'd give it a B+. If I were giving it out of 10, I'd go with a solid 8. Let's look at just the results in general here. We had 4 fights go to the decision. 1, 2, 3, 4 knockouts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Does that make sense? All those numbers. 4 were submissions. I mean, perfect mix of everything. Again, the pace was phenomenal. So what we just watched in the main event was Kelvin on a mission for gold. Gastelum knocked out Michael Bisping, knocked him out cold at 2:30 of round number 1. I don't often toot my own horn or anything. Most of the time I'm wrong. But, you know, sometimes I've talked to you guys about I come here to the post-fight show, and if I were to have got the main event wrong, there's always somebody in the comment section that says, oh, the Flyin Brian, he don't know shit. He's an idiot. He never gets any fights right. Well, for this one, I got it almost exactly right. I called the right fighter to win, the right method, and like the combination that would close the show. But it wasn't that difficult to predict this fight. Basically, GSP told us how to beat Michael Bisping last week, and then Kelvin, I think, is faster than GSP, so just put the same tools in Gastelum's hands, and he'll do it faster than like GSP could, and he absolutely 100% did that. Matt Roddy mentioned that Michael Bisping could be done. He's absolutely not done. He's still going to retire, and I think it's March 17th at UFC Fight Night 127 in London. We could talk about who a potential opponent for him would be, and I guess we'll do that after we talk about the potential opponent for Kelvin Gastelum. Sam Harris says Kelvin won't touch Whitaker. He says our boy Whitaker. Sam, of course, is from Australia. After the main event, Kelvin, Jon Anik set him up for it. No, or Dan Hardy set him up for it. He says, what do you want next? Call somebody out. And Kelvin called out Robert Whitaker. Okay, sure, let's do that if GSP decides he doesn't want to unify the belts. If GSP doesn't want to fight at middleweight again, then I guess I don't see a real reason why we shouldn't do Kelvin versus Bobby Knuckles. But I don't think that Kelvin's going to get that fight. I really don't. So what realistically could we give Kelvin Gastelum next? And I tweeted this from MMA Mania's Twitter account. That's where he tweet, of course. Kelvin versus Yoel, the Soldier of God Romero. The reason I like that is because the rankings, I believe, well, Romero's like what, 2, 3? Let me look. Sorry, I wasn't prepared. Rankings wise, yeah, it goes Whitaker, Rockhold, Romero, and Romero just fought Bobby Knuckles. It would be a fun matchup because, like, we're talking about Kelvin not being that sizable for the middleweight division. He almost missed weight for this event, but stylistically, it's really, really fun. Both hit super hard, and where Gastelum would lack in the cardio or would lack in the size department, he would make up for it in the cardio department because Yoel does not have very good cardio. So you got the fun dynamic there. And the winner could get another title shot or a title shot. I might pick Romero to win, but I like the matchup stylistically. And then what's next for Matthew Rosh? Says that he likes the Machida fight for Bisping. I mean, it sounds okay. I don't like it, though. I would almost like to see Bisping fight Rockhold to clean out that trilogy as his last fight. I really want to see that fight again, although I think Rockhold would probably win. I think 9 times out of 10, Rockhold beats Michael Bisping. Even at UFC 199, we match that up 10 times. I think Rockhold beats Bisping 9 times at least. Just crazy that it didn't happen. Or what else could we do for? Man, like every fight is so dangerous. It would be cool to see Mike get redemption against Vitor Belfort, but Vitor's already fighting Uriah Primetime Hall in February, I think. Yatko. Yeah, maybe that is what we do. Because that's the safest fight for both guys. Machida, Bisping. I guess we do that in London, March 17th, 2018. All right, we'll do it. Silva versus Bisping 2. Oliver Hall, he said Silva versus Bisping 2. Bisping versus Weidman, Steve Kovonen says. Bisping and Silva. No, I don't like that. I don't want to see that fight again. I would like Anderson Silva's in trouble with USADA, so he's probably not going to fight in March. And Andy should retire. So we're going with Machida versus Bisping. There's a big question back here. Ways I got to look for it. David Lozano, never liked Bisping, but recently I've gained a lot of respect for him. Dude is fighting halfway around the world first thing in the morning with one after getting choked unconscious a couple weeks ago. Has to be one of the toughest sons of bitches to ever step inside of the octagon. Forget Rockhold. Dan Hardy said it the best. The Karate Kid, Machida versus Belfort in London or Belfort. Bisping. Romero versus... See, Steve Gerber, I originally wanted Romero versus Bisping. I've wanted that fight for a long time, ever since Yoel was doing the thing, I love you, Mike. I love you, boy. See you soon. Or whatever. But, man, after seeing these back-to-back losses for Michael Bisping, it feels almost cruel to serve Bisping up in his swan song to somebody as vicious as Yoel, the Soldier of God. So let's just not do that. I like the Karate Kid idea. Machida. Mike VK, Rockhold versus Weidman, Gastelum versus Romero seems about right. Yeah. Yep. Adrian Sansamia. No, Bisping got knocked out at 2:30 of the very first round. So we got what's next for both guys. I like Romero for Gastelum, if not Robert Whitaker. And then what's next for Bisping? Somebody old. And probably Lyoto the Dragon. And I might actually pick Bisping to win that fight. Just because he seems less faded than the Dragon. Matt Roddy, people need to respect Mike a little bit more. Probably the most successful Ultimate Fighter ever. But there's been a few champions from the Ultimate Fighter, and look, Gastelum was the Ultimate Fighter as well, and he's doing pretty damn well for himself. TJ Dillashaw was the Ultimate Fighter, right? Tony Ferguson was on the Ultimate Fighter. So, you know, lots of successful people coming from that series. I don't really have a WTF of the card prepared. And normally after we talk about the main event, I'd like to talk about like a what the fuck moment from the card. I think that early on there was a Wu Yanin Wu, I believe it was, had an issue with her shorts. Just Google that. I don't know exactly what the problem was. Maybe the WTF of the card could be, why did we give Kylan Curran 7th fight in the UFC? She became the first woman in the UFC, period, to have 6 losses. And she is 1-6. What the fuck? Why did we give her another opportunity at all? Stan Jasinski, the translator between each fight, should get the WTF. It's unfair to put Whitaker against anyone other than the champion now, surely? Well, Whitaker is the champion. Matt? Donnie Smith, I like it. Bisping Rockhold 3 in London? Perhaps. A lot of options. But Matt Austin, so GSP, you know, he has the linear real belt, and Whitaker has the interim belt, but GSP doesn't know if he's going to fight at middleweight again. So if he has questions, then we have to move on. And Whitaker, sure, #1 contender fight. Ricardo Pena, because she doesn't fight, boring. Yeah, the Ultimate Fighting Championships isn't just built on excitement. Losing excitingly 6 times is not good. And then somebody said to me to drop her level of competition and give her one more shot. She's lost 3 times to debutantes. How much? I know one of those was Paige Van Zandt, but 2 other debuting fighters, she lost to them. Why keep giving her chances? If Curran doesn't get cut from the UFC, if she's still here, I say have her fight Angela Overkill Hill. Just because I think they're both on the bottom edge of the UFC, the women's strawweight division, and I think that Angela Hill could get a victory that way. I'd like to see her win, so that's what I would like to do. How about Bisping going up and taking on Cormier? Are you crazy, Donnie? Donnie Smith says that Bisping should go up and fight Cormier. Dude, Mike would get smashed. Not cool. Matt Roddy says, Mike won a title and has the most wins in the UFC history. It's tough. I've got to give him the nod at this time, I think. Yeah, maybe as the most successful. Rick Hamley says he wants to hate me, but I keep making sense. Woo! Yeah, look at me with my reasoning. A lot of comments, a lot of viewers today, guys. Thanks a lot. Before I get any further, let me tell you, if you like listening to what I have to say, but don't want to keep your Facebook open right now and you got other shit you need to do, you can subscribe to MMA Mania on anywhere you can find a podcast, and I'll put this there immediately after I'm done talking, basically. And then there's another good podcast on MMA Mania's feed that you can check out as well. Just anywhere you can find podcasts, you can find this. You can also find me over on MMA Mania's YouTube channel. Put out a lot of good content, I think, so check that shit out. Christos Vi. It was an 8 for this KO. Oh, you gave the grade an 8 out of 10. But it was really expected from anyone that has any clue about the sport. Yeah, right. Bisping opening too much after throwing the hook. Gastelum has heavy hands. Yep. Also, Christos, I mentioned it in my pre-fight breakdown. Bisping's right eye is bad, so if you can distract him with his other eye and then come back with a shot to this side, as GSP told us after he defeated Michael Bisping, you can get the better of him. And that's basically all Kelvin does, is jab with his right hand, which would be distracting Mike's left side, and come with a left overhand or left straight to Bisping's bad eye, and bam, that's exactly what happened. But it happened a lot sooner than I thought it would. So, like I said, don't really have many candidates for the WTF of the card. Other than, maybe, here's my WTF of the card, and it's a positive WTF. This is the one we're giving. This fight card, people were saying it was like the shittiest fight card ever. And I'm going to say, this fight card turned out pretty damn good. What the fuck? I didn't expect that. So, just basically WTF for this fight card, way exceeding my expectations. Move down. Lee, the Leech, Jing Liang versus Zach Otto. The Leech TKO'd Otto at 257 of round number 1. Phenomenal performance by the Leech. After he TKO'd Zach Otto, I believe it was a left hand that dropped him. Let me check the pictures that I tweeted out. My memory isn't the best. I'm a little tired, too. It is 8 o'clock my time. Been up since like 12:30 my time. Where's the picture? Nope. Right hand, right on the button. Straight on the jaw. Dropped him, and then Otto did a pretty decent job of trying to re-guard and defend himself intelligently, but he was eating a lot of ground and pound, and the referee stepped in, called it over. As soon as the Leech got that, like the referee stepped in to stop it, he jumped out of the cage, ran to the crowd to hug his wife and his daughter. Adorable little girl. And his wife's glasses were like fucking, like so crooked, and she never adjusted them. She was so excited for the Leech. Touching little moment there. What's next for Lee the Leech? I was pulling up the welterweight rankings because what's interesting to me is his last fight. I think it was his last fight. He knocked out Bobby Nash. No, maybe 2 fights ago for the Leech. Nope, that was the last fight. Yeah, he knocked out Bobby Nash in his last fight in January, and Bobby Nash just got finished way more easily by Song tonight. Song Kenan than he was by the Leech, and I was like, well, maybe the Leech should fight Song Kenan because that just makes sense. Like the same time frame, same weight, they have the same last opponent. But I don't think the UFC would do that because they want to preserve these Chinese fighters for fight nights like this. Maybe they could have them as the co-main event fighting each other. But what the UFC usually does, are my comments not loading again? Gosh dang it. Sorry, guys. My comments weren't loading, so I didn't see a lot of your comments for a second. I hate when that happens. The UFC wants to pair the hometown fighters against people coming in because they want the crowd to get into it. They want, that way they can create stars in China so they can come back and then keep filling stadiums and shit. For the Leech, the Leech has a pretty good grappling game. And that's why he got his name at first, was he's smothering ground control. But lately, he turned into a pretty exciting kickboxer, mostly boxer. Well, how about you give him to the winner of Alex Cowboy Oliveira versus Yancy Medeiros? That fight's happening next weekend, I think. Next Saturday. So the winner of Alex Cowboy Oliveira versus Yancy Medeiros for Li Jingliang. What do you think, guys? Thanks, Rick Hamley. Let's keep moving down the card. Wang Guan versus Alex Bruce Leroy Caceres. There were a lot of underdogs that won tonight, and I believe Caceres closed as the favorite. Let me find it. 1 second, guys. Where is it? Caceres. Yeah, minus 140 on Caceres to come back on Wang Guan, and that plus 120. So you could tell right away at the very start of this fight that Guan was going to have a speed advantage. Every time Caceres went for a low kick, inside, outside, whatever it may be, Guan was countering with straight rights that hurt Caceres. And there were a couple times when Guan used a counter left hook or a counter left straight, but like from the orthodox stance, that hurt Caceres. Dropped him multiple times in this fight. Actually, maybe it was just twice. Caceres could never even get a body lock to get the fight to the ground because Bruce Leroy is really good with his jiu-jitsu. Could never get the fight there. Speed advantage, power advantage for Wang Guan. And very, very impressive performance from him. He stood in the pocket. He ate a pretty good left hand from Caceres once, and he just like grimaced and walked forward, and Caceres really had nothing for Wang Guan the entire fight. Moving back to the WTF of the card, there was a split fucking decision for Guan versus Caceres, and I thought clearly Guan won the first 2 rounds. Clearly, clear as day. He dropped Caceres in each of the first 2 rounds, and somehow the fight ended up being a split decision. One judge giving, I'm guessing, the second and third round to Caceres, but I don't see how that happened. So WTF to whoever the judge is that fucked that up. Come on, man. Pull that shit together. What's next for Wang Guan? No idea. Probably another Asian card. Which, when's the next time the UFC is going to somewhere? Yeah, it's not even scheduled. They don't even have another scheduled fight for Asia. I don't know, but I'd probably be on one of those cards, and it's very difficult to predict what's next for fighters on cards like this. Anyway, moving on. We got it for comments. Bo Menser, what's laughable, buddy? Tell me what's laughable, and we'll discuss it. I gotta open my video in another window. Sorry guys, one sec, because my comments aren't loading and I really want to talk to you guys. What's next for Fabricio Verdum? Steve Kovonen says, I think last week I decided that I would like for him to fight. He can get Stipe Miocic if Reem defeats Francis Ngannou. He can get the rematch with Miocic, and if not, I would like to see him fight Mark Hunt in the rematch if Mark Hunt can pass those tests that are scheduled for him. Or we could get him rescheduled against the Black Beast. But I don't have too much going on. Good morning, Clinton. Bisping versus Lombard? I don't know. I don't like that at all, Jack. Doesn't sound very fun. Like, Lombard isn't a good name. Really? Alright, got this open in another window. Hopefully keep loading my comments. Brian, did you fix that breath problem? Oh, no, I did not. I still have not brushed my teeth. Yeah. Is that what you're talking about, Donnie? So I did a pre-fight show, and I told the guys that I apologize for my bad breath. Is it my freezing a little bit? Gosh darn it. I've got something taking up, am I freezing, guys? This is bullshit. Jack Mooney says that. Fucking frozen. God dang it. Alright, let me close some of my windows. It's probably my internet. Nope. Fred says I'm not freezing. Not here. Alright, well, I don't know. I froze on my own screen. Sure, Lombard would be a winnable matchup for Bisping, but like Lombard's not even a middleweight. I know that technically neither was Kelvin Gastelum. But anyway, so I was mentioning earlier, I told Donnie Smith in the pre-fight show that I woke up and I hadn't brushed my teeth yet, so apologize for the bad breath. Still haven't done it. That was one thing about the fights, which I've already been mentioning. The fights went so quickly, I didn't have time to do like much. I ate some noodles during the fight card, but other than that, I didn't like leave my seat, watch the fights just straight through basically. Better put myself back in the frame. So we're moving on, talking about Muslim Salikov. Came in here with a lot of hype. Was a huge favorite over Alex Garcia. Where is it? Where's the odds? Minus 220. That's not huge, but Alex Garcia shut him down immediately. As soon as Alex Garcia got the first takedown and Muslim Salikov couldn't do fucking anything about it, I knew that Garcia was about to run away with his fight. And Garcia did close the show with a rear naked choke at 3:22 of the second round. Garcia's been surprising me lately. He lost to Tim Means, but knocked out Mike Pyle, finished Muslim Salikov. What's next for him? I don't know. I got the welterweight rankings pulled up. Maybe somebody like Vicente Luque. I'd like perhaps Alex Garcia versus Vicente Luque, and if not, then sooner or later we're going to have to give him a top 15 opponent. Maybe somebody like Gunnar Nelson. Gunnar Nelson versus Alex Garcia. What do you think, guys? That sound decent? Chris Garner, Masvidal versus Bisping. I don't like that, and I mentioned that earlier in my pre-fight show, that Masvidal moved up from 155 pounds to go to welterweight, and he looked pretty undersized against, I know he's big, but against Wonderboy Thompson. Bisping, 185er, he didn't look huge against Gastelum, but the size difference there, I just don't think that. And also, is Masvidal a name, beyond the MMA hardcore community? Not really. I think that Bisping deserves to have like a name, an older gentleman, and a name for his swan song, not just some randomo. So yeah, I'm going to stick with Lyoto Machida. Donnie Smith wants to see who Darren Till's fighting next. I want him to fight the winner of Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Mike Platinum Perry. That or Stephen Wonderboy Thompson would be fucking awesome, but Stephen Thompson already turned down that matchup, so I guess it's kind of out of the question. Let's move on through this card. Zabit Magomedsharipov versus Shayman Moraes. So in Zabit's UFC debut, and oftentimes tonight, he showed like some dazzling, really exciting striking ability. But basically how he won this fight against Shayman Moraes was takedowns, control, passing guard, getting into the crucifix mounted position, looking for submissions. What I was really impressed with Zabit Magomedsharipov was that he finished this fight with 30 seconds to go in the entire fight. And toward the end of the fight, his corner was just like, hey, go for the finish, Zabit, with like a minute to go. And he's like, okie doke, and then sunk in an anaconda choke and finished it off. So he's really impressive that he's so gosh darn well rounded, and to be 6'1" at featherweight, and he doesn't look too emaciated or skeleton like, is pretty fucking awesome. And then just the dynamism with which he fights and the tools that he brings to the octagon, really impressive. Shayman Moraes didn't have any answer on the ground, and it was his UFC debut, so I'd like to have Zabit make a step up in competition. He fought 2 UFC debutants now. Let's move him into let's get him into the mix, into the wolf pack. Throw him to the lions. Alfred Wonder says that Zabit nullified his opponent and moved so smoothly. Yeah, man, the guy, he called out Yair El Pantera Rodriguez, so that he does want to get thrown to the fray, and so fuck it, yeah, let's do that. And somebody told me on my Twitter that because of the way that Frankie Edgar controlled Yair on the ground, he thinks that Zabit should be able to do the same thing. But I mean, let's not get crazy here. Zabit beat 2 debutants, like I said, so to compare him to Frankie Edgar is kind of just don't do it. It's reckless to compare him to that. But Zabit, sure, he could do similar things, take down and control Yair, but on the feet, man, that'd be so fun. And if Yair can ward off that takedown, so fuck it. I say yeah, Zabit versus Yair Rodriguez. How about the Count and Weidman? Rick Hamley says, sorry to keep on the same subject, and maybe I'll address this, but this division is goofy. The lightweights. Who is your number 1 contender at lightweight? Who's number 2? And who do I think is best? Well, at lightweight, we don't really need a number 1 contender because Ferguson has the belt. So does Conor McGregor. That's the fight to make. The next, Khabib is going to fight Edson Barboza. Whoever wins that is probably the number 1 contender. And then if Justin Gaethje defeats Eddie Alvarez, which I think he will on Friday, like this coming week, at the Ultimate Fighter finale. I think that's this week, right? Tell me I'm wrong. No? Oh, it's the next day, isn't it? Whoops, 1 second, guys. Yeah, UFC 218 a week from today. Eddie Alvarez, Justin Gaethje. I think Justin Gaethje is going to defeat Eddie Alvarez. And then, gosh, you just got this wild little bunch of fun at the top of the division there. So McGregor, Ferguson, and then Habib or Barboza, and then probably Justin Gaethje. If Habib were to beat Barboza but then be injured, then Justin Gaethje, I think, could step up. And we really need to wait and see what McGregor's going to do. Is he going to come back and actually defend a belt? Is he actually going to fight for the belt against Tony Ferguson? Who knows? It's a free-for-all up there in the top 4. Donnie Smith thinks Barboza's going to beat Habib. Albert Cavarallo? Sorry, man. The lightweights, who's number 2? I think I got the question answered right, Rick. I don't know. All right, let's move on with this card we're talking about today. Song Kanan beat Bobby Nash. Bobby Nash coming in with double jab. Song right hand over the top, put him out. 15 seconds of the very first round, only 15 seconds in, and then Herb Dean stepped in and stopped the fight, and Bobby Nash tried to wrestle Herb for probably more than 15 seconds. I felt bad for Bobby Nash there, and I think Bobby's been knocked out in his last 3 fights. He's 0-3 in the UFC. He's probably going to get cut. So he seems to get his lights shut off pretty easily. He's going to be cut from the UFC. I don't know what's next for him. Jack says, I can't believe people are buying into Whittaker versus Kelvin. Are we forgetting that Weidman choked him out a few months ago? Cavallero, got it. Well, Jack, it's different, and I said this in my breakdown too. Weidman did that with grappling. He made Kelvin tired by big brothering him, wrestling him, made him tired. Is Whittaker gonna wrestle Kelvin? No, he's not. Yeah, that would be a boxing match, a kickboxing match, because Whittaker's not going to take down Kelvin. And they're similar sizes because they both moved up from the welterweight division. So it's an exciting matchup in that sense. That Whittaker is not going to wrestle and sap that energy from Kelvin like Chris Weidman did. You know, stylistic matchups and all that jazz. Where am I? What is that? Who is he? Elton Maidley says that. I don't know where you're at, buddy. Hello from Russia. What's up? Yeah, and as Donnie Smith says, Weidman is a huge middleweight. Yes. So Song Kanan, fucking phenomenal UFC debut, but we have to question the durability of Bobby Nash. What's next for him? No idea. Probably, like I said earlier, another card in Asia would be next. Dingo Diggler, give my performance bonuses before they're announced. All right, let's do that. Obviously, Kelvin Gastelum gets a extra $50,000 for knocking out Michael Bisping in the first round. I think that, I don't think there was a fight of the night. And if it were a fight of the night, it might be to Yan Xiaonan versus Kylan Curran. But I don't like that. So, yeah, going Kelvin, Li Jingliang. I'm going to go with Zabit Magomedsharipov. And Alex Caceres. What do you think? I'm not giving out a fight of the night. So extra 50 G's to Kelvin, Li Jingliang, Alex Garcia, and Zabit Magomedsharipov. If you find him and you see him, you let me know if I was close. But that's what I would go with. And because I'm not actually giving out an extra 50 G's, because I don't have 50 G's to give myself. I say for funsies, we give out an extra one, and I'm going to go with Song Yadong for his front choke over Bahar Kandar. Yan Xiaonan versus Kylan Curran. Yan put some heavy fucking leather on Kylan Curran. Rocked her, dropped her multiple times. Curran, between round 1 and 2, she seemed to be really dejected in the corner. She was complaining about something. I don't know if she was complaining about her knee or just complaining that Yan was putting that heavy leather on her face. And I already mentioned that Curran should either be cut from the UFC, which I thought she should have been cut from the UFC a while ago, or fight Angela Overkill Hill. And if she is cut, then I say Yan should fight Angela Overkill Hill, because Angela's on the cusp of the UFC. Like, is she UFC caliber? Is she not UFC caliber? Well, she should fight Yan Xiaonan. Whitaker would absolutely knock out Michael Bisping. Never going to happen. Jack Mooney, I don't want to get into like this type of conversation. Curran, everyone thinks she's so good looking. I disagree. I do not think she's that attractive. Look, man, just in that division, there are probably 15 better looking women than her that have a win in the UFC. So, she has a win too, but people that have wins in the UFC, there's at least 15 that are better looking than her. And in that one division. And that division is shallow. So I don't think she's that good looking. If Angela Magana can go for 6 straight L's, why not her? I don't think she's that good looking either. Get rid of them both. Stan Jasinski, Curran should have been back in Invicta 2 fights ago. Yes. Who will be the next champ to lose a belt? Oh my, that is a good question. Let's say last December, so December 2016, would you have guessed that these champions had belts? I mean, GSP being the middleweight champion. Next champion to lose a belt. Oof, tough. Out of all of the champions, I would say the biggest candidate would be Amanda Nunes. Yeah. Or Daniel Cormier if John Jones comes back. Stipe against Ngannou. Man, I don't know. Stipe's hands are so fast. I don't know. That'd be an interesting matchup. Woodley. I know Woodley's has not been exciting lately, but who could beat this man? Colby Covington? I think not. Rafael dos Nachos? I don't think so either. Yeah, Jay Richardson, GSP, yeah, and McGregor. Chris Gardner, early prediction on Holloway versus Aldo rematch. I think it's going to be the same as last time, but faster. Max Holloway is one of those guys that, he takes like the first round to figure his opponent out. Then he just cranks up the volume. And then he'll end up finishing them like he did to Pettis, like he did to Aldo. But what's happening here is what? We're basically getting, would it be a 4th round? It would basically be, we're getting a 4th round with Holloway versus Aldo. Just, 6 months removed? I don't see going much different. I think that instead this time Holloway will turn the volume up quicker than he did last time. And I think maybe the beginning of round 3 instead of the later portion of round 3 for Max. Or maybe the end of round 2. But I think Max is going to do the same damn thing to Aldo. I thought that Valentina Shevchenko beat Amanda Nunes. And that's basically why I said that I would pick Nunes to be losing her belt first. I'm not that impressed with Nunes. If she can't knock him out early, she just looked like she was playing it safe last time. So there's that, yeah. Yeah. Let's cover the rest of this card. Shamil Abdurakhimov knocked out Chase Sherman at 124 the first round. Chase Sherman, people talk about Chase Sherman's chin because he made his UFC debut against Justin Ledet, and Justin Ledet like jabbed him to oblivion and didn't knock him out. But then Chase has been knocked out twice in his last 4 fights. He doesn't have a good chin. He doesn't have very good head movement. Shamil hits pretty hard. Big win for Shamil, but what's next for him? I don't know. The heavyweight division is so shallow. Just because it's fresh on my mind, so the time frames would be similar. How about we give Tai Tuivasa to Shamil Abdurakhimov? Yep, fuck it. Going with that. Tai Tuivasa, Shamil Abdurakhimov. Do it in... neither guy took much damage, so we could do it in, like, January. Which, let's put him at... Let's put him at UFC on Fox. Lawler versus... No, this card is already done. I think you could do it soon. Tai Tuivasa versus Shamil Abdurakhimov. I like it. Rose Namajunas will lose her first defense. I disagree. Bullet won't get a rematch, Jay. Yeah, she probably won't because they've already fought twice. But Valentina Shevchenko is going to fight for the flyweight title instead. But still. Well, Matt Roddy thinks Aldo versus Holloway is going to go longer than last time, but Max is still going to win. All right, man. Maybe. Let me run through these results here. Gina Mazzani versus Wu Yanin. Gina Mazzani basically implemented a grappling-heavy, wrestling-heavy approach. She came out firing guns a-blazing, got a little crazy, winging wildly. Then she got in the clinch, got Wu Yanin down, and basically dominated her with clinching up against the fence, getting her to the ground, controlling her. 30-27 across the board. It was absolutely warranted. Before that, Rolando D defeated Wuliji Burin via unanimous decision, 30-27, 29-28, 30-27. Rolando D basically was just like the stronger, more athletic person in this fight. Wuliji looked to be pretty quick. He looked to be pretty sharp. But any time that they engaged in like something that would the person with the more physicality would win, Rolando D dominated that thing. Rolando dropped Wuliji Burin with a left hook, counter left hook in the first round, and just dominated most of that fight. In the opening act of the night, Cyril Asker versus Hu Yaozong. Cyril Asker basically came out, started taking Hu Yaozong down early, wrestled him. Hu got tired really quickly. Second round, Cyril at 2:33 got it, that rear naked choke. Pretty impressive performance from Cyril Asker. I don't know how high a level Hu Yaozong is, but I think that's Cyril Asker's second UFC victory in a row he lost to Walt Harris. He has 2 wins in the UFC, though. I didn't predict him ever getting a win in the UFC. Now he has 2 of them. Still pretty low level. I'm not disrespecting the man. I won't even say it then. I was going to say I didn't think he really deserves to be in the UFC, but he's got 2 wins, so there's that. Okay, Steve Kavonen. I thought Aldo had pretty good cardio when it was very well rounded. Not the same since the McGregor KO. Also, you have to think about everybody that's not doing well in the Reebok era. It's basically post-USADA. The Reebok era is post-USADA, so he hasn't looked that great. Sure, he defeated Frankie Edgar, but he just looks slower. And, I mean, look at his buddy Renan Barao, how he's really fallen off a cliff. And Max is at his physical prime. He's got a lot of experience, so he's also, like, perhaps in his mental prime of mixed martial arts. I don't feel like, at this stage, Jose Aldo has much for him. Jack Mooney says Ortega's coming for Max's belt. Only if it's via 3rd round submission or something. Matt Roddy. Rose and Joanna, he thinks is like Dillashaw Barao. Rose just has Joanna's number. I know Joanna keeps talking. Joanna is still like cocky and overconfident, saying that she's the number one women's strawweight in the world. I see that fight going the same way if it happens again right away. I picked Joanna in my breakdown, but if you recall, I said in my breakdown that there are 2 strikes from Thug Rose that could really cause some problems for Joanna. And that is the overhand right countering Joanna's jab. That's how she dropped her the first time. And then also the lead hook. Like she closed distance really well. Lead hook when Joanna's throwing a low kick. And that's how she finished the fight. She dropped with the overhand right, countering the jab, jump in, left hook, close the show. And I said it could happen. I said I don't think it will happen. It did happen. And now that I saw it before, I saw it in real life, I think that would happen again. I mean, what's Joanna going to do to change that? She's been the same fighter. I think she's been getting better. She is susceptible to damage. She got dropped by Karolina Kowalkiewicz. She got dropped by Claudia Gadelha. And Rose is one of these super young fighters who gets better by huge amounts every time we see her in the octagon. You just see her from like the time when she lost to the Cookie Monster, Carla Esparza, to then when she beat the karate hottie, Michelle Watterson, and then between Michelle Watterson and Joanna and Jacek, how much better she got was just astronomical. Joanna is very accurate but doesn't have great power. That's what Steve Kavonen says. Jack Mooney says he'd like to see Joanna versus Claudia again. Absolutely. I like it. Good call, guys. All right, let me check the real post-fight bonuses. And then while I'm doing that, how great is it, guys, that we get to now enjoy the rest of your Saturday? And maybe you might have to go to sleep if you've been up all night, or if you've you might be from the UK or something. But if you're from East Coast, West Coast, United States, you might need to go to sleep right now. But I think I'm going to try to stay up the rest of the day. I slept from 5 p.m. yesterday to 1 a.m. Got up to do the pre-fight show, then watch the card. All right, so the official post-fight bonuses are in. Kelvin Gastelum, Lee the Leech Xingliang, Zabit Magomed Sharipov, and Song Yadong. So I gave out 5 bonuses, and 4 of what I gave were in there. They didn't give one to Alex Garcia. Either one, Garcia versus Song Yadong, deserved it. What? Ooh, I wonder why Song Yadong got it over Song Kanan, because Kanan got it TKO in 15 seconds. I don't know. Anyway, I'm fine with those. Nico will win tough. Disagree. I think Roxanne Modafferi is going to win tough. That girl, even though she's not the best, she looks kind of nerdy or whatever, she is fucking vicious with her ground and pound. And I predict she's going to win it. And I'm excited for her because I think she's UFC caliber, and I'm glad she's going to be in the UFC again. All right, guys, we have a lot of fights that we can talk about next week. We got the Ultimate Fighter finale on Friday, which, of course, I think it's going to be headlined by, I think, Roxanne Modafferi, but it's to be determined, versus Nico Montano. Andrew Sanchez versus Ryan James. Joe Soto versus Brett Johns. Tyrion Ware versus Sean O'Malley. Oh, that'll be fun. A couple of strikers. I think Sean O'Malley probably run through him. Eric Spicely versus Gerald Mearshart. Oh, that's a fun grapplers matchup. Overeem versus Ngannou. Heavyweight MMA is so difficult to predict because hey, thanks, Chris. I appreciate you for hanging out. If you haven't already, please like my Facebook page. It's at Flyin Brian Show. I gave my personal Facebook account at Flyin Brian J, like when I first started Facebook back in 2006, and I can't take it off now. So it's stuck there, and I can't give it to my Facebook page. So it's at Flyin Brian Show. Kind of annoying. Jack is asking about Overeem versus Ngannou, and why I say it's difficult to pick heavyweight MMAs because, so Overeem has been fighting really smart, but his chin kind of sucks. For instance, Ngannou has the new record for the hardest hit in sports science lab history, the hardest punch in sports lab science history. That's fucking crazy. So if he touches the chin of Overeem's going to sleep. But also, people like to talk about Francis got stiffened up by a jab from Curtis Razor Blades. It's tough. Whoever lands first probably going to win. I'm going to pick Francis Ngannou partially because, well, mostly because I think that he might have a better chin than Overeem, but partially because I want to see new blood challenge for the heavyweight title. If we just have those same like 3 guys at the top, well, Kane I think is getting heavyweight title shot at UFC 220, right? It's not official yet, is it? It's not official. But like Overeem, is he going to get another title shot? I think that Miocic does the same thing to him. And do we want Werdum to get another title shot right away? Not really. I'd rather see Francis Ngannou. So I want Francis Ngannou to defeat Alistair Overeem and then get a title shot against Stipe Miocic, and then we'll go from there. Also, next week on Saturday, we've got UFC 218, headlined, of course, by Max Holloway, Jose Aldo. We just talked about Alistair Overeem versus Francis Ngannou. Henry, the Messenger Cejudo versus Sergio the Phenom Pettis. That'll be good. Eddie Alvarez, Justin Gaethje, Teaser Torres, Michelle the Karate Hottie Watterson. What a fucking amazing main card. Charles Dubronx Oliveira versus Paul Felder. Fun as hell. Alex Cowboy Oliveira versus Nancy Medeiros. David Tamer versus Jacare Close. Felice Herrig versus Courtney Casey. Abdul Razak Hassan versus Sabah Homasi. Jeremy Kimball versus Dominic Reyes. Justin Willis versus Alan Crowder. Amanda Bobby Cooper versus Angela Magana. Ugh, fuck, puke, gross. Don't care about that one. Anyway, guys, I think that's enough for the show. Again, you can subscribe to MMA Mania on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts. Please like my Facebook page. It's at Flyin Brian Show. Follow me on Twitter if you're into that sort of thing, at Flyin Brian J. And lastly, please subscribe or follow MMA Mania on Instagram. It's at MMAmania.com with the dot spelled out D-O-T. Thank you guys so very much for joining me. I really appreciate you. I'll be back really soon. We got fights on just Friday. That's in 6 days from right now. So I'll see you guys soon. Thanks, Alfred. Have a nice Saturday. Have a great weekend. Namaste. I might have a beer. How fun. Yeah. 8:30 in the morning beer. I fucking, why not? Right, guys? Don't judge me.